Okay, you guys are doing a great job, and we're going to have to get really clever here to find all the Jesuit computers. Now that they realize we're trying to destroy all Jesuit computers, they're going to try to make it hard for us to find them. Remember in my space laws, one of the methods that we use to find Jesuit computers is by analyzing the signals. But first of all, I'd like to say that this earthquake that happened in China, it occurred 6 miles. The epicenter was 6 miles underneath, 6 miles down, which is not very deep. So that makes me strongly suspect that was a Jesuit-created earthquake using their HARP technology. The Ash Wednesday earthquake in Seattle, which Jesus himself told us that he sent that one, and nobody died in that one, so it was a very strange quake. That one was like 19 miles down. So because it was so deep, Jesuits don't seem to have the technology to be able to orchestrate an earthquake that far down, with an epicenter like 20 miles down. They can do 6 miles down. So I'm about 98% certain that this earthquake in China was a Jesuit orchestrated catastrophe. And that's why I'm making this video. We need to be able to stop their ability to do this. Good job on getting the computers, but don't forget that just about every satellite in outer space is a floating computer. And don't forget that Jesuit satellites also exist deep down underneath remember those, Vladimir, remember years ago when we destroyed a bunch of deep ocean satellites? They were underneath the ocean floor. Jesuits have satellites beneath the earth and above the earth. So the way we're going to locate them, remember what we did before with Bible saturation signals? We analyze, first of all, we must make sure that we need to study the signals that come from Jesuit computers. And don't forget that Jesuits are buddies with the UFOs. So study signals that come from UFOs, and then study the signals that come from Jesuit computers so that we can figure out what is the mark of a UFO or Jesuit signal. And then we are going to create like a signal that searches for Jesuit signals in the atmosphere. And we're going to do it from 4 directions, like going north to south, south to north, east to west, west to east, and different directions so we can really canvas all different areas of the atmosphere and make sure we don't miss any Jesuit signals. We might have it go around like in a circle, the scanner, so that it can just maybe going around like a globe in a circle, like a rotating, I don't know how to explain it, but we want to make sure that we're scanning 360 degrees everywhere, 3-dimensional, every direction, so we can pick up Jesuit signals. Once we pick up the Jesuit signal, then we're going to hone in on that signal and find out its source. The problem is, in order to detect Jesuit signals, we need to send out Jesuit signals. Remember this? We're going to have our signals saturated with the Bible. You can experiment and see which Bible works best, whether it's the King James or the original languages or Hebrew or Greek or Aramaic. But experiment and find out which of our signals causes the Jesuit signal to repel. See, Jesuit signals come from a satanic source. They're from UFOs. And UFOs are satanic. So if we send our signals out there and they're saturated with the Bible, and it runs into a Jesuit signal, and the Jesuit signal backs away from it, that's how we can find the Jesuit signals. So we're going to saturate all of our signals with the Bible and anything else we need to put into that signal to help us locate Jesuit signals. Okay, so let's say our signal's being sent out there and it runs into a Jesuit signal, and that Jesuit signal just ricochets backwards. Right off the bat, our program is going to say, hey, we found a Jesuit signal. Then we're going to trace that Jesuit signal to its source, and then we will destroy the Jesuit computer from there. So we're going to find the computers by tracing the signals to their source. I want you to read my law because I have some brilliant ideas here on how to do it. Okay, when we find the Jesuit computer, we won't destroy it right away. We're going to try to download its programming and study it. Then we will destroy the computer. Don't forget, we also need to destroy satellites, under deep ocean satellites, and those, in other words, those below the Earth and those above the Earth. And we're going to locate them by their signals. Okay, every satellite, now my satellite laws need to be enforced. Every satellite that's floating around space has to be registered with the international government. And all the space materials used to make that satellite we will analyze so that we can detect where all the satellites are. No satellite in space can be floating up there if it's not registered with our international government. If so, we're going to crash it. Remember what we did before, Vladimir? We may have to do it again. Because what happened was, when we had our treaty with the Jesuits, we weren't allowed to enforce conspiracy law. And during that time, Zach Knight went to town to make sure that every single one of my laws would be violated. He basically revamped all the computers and turned them into Jesuit computers, including our own computers. He revamped all the satellites and turned them into Jesuit satellites, including our own good satellites. So we've had to just work from the bottom up. Right now, don't forget, you guys, we need to revamp all the satellites out there. That's the deep ocean satellites and the ones above ground. So we need to get to work on that next. When you destroy the Jesuit computers, don't forget about the satellites, because the Jesuits are using them. That's how they did the earthquake. So we're going to study signals to find the source of the Jesuit computers. Then we're going to get a report on that Jesuit computer, and then we'll destroy the computer and all the Jesuits surrounded around the computer. And we're going to also destroy any satellites that aren't ours. We'll crash them into the ocean like we did before. So get to work on this. You guys are doing a great job, but we still have a lot of work to do to destroy Jesuit computers. The satellites are very important. They use them heavily in their work, like I said. And a lot of them are in underwater cities, deep ocean cities, and even cities underneath the ocean floor. Anyways, if you look at my law, just read my law. This is the next law that I think we need to work on, okay? Let's go after the satellites, study the signals, so that we can determine the source, make sure that all the satellites are registered with the international government. We don't want any Jesuit satellites up there. We're going to do whatever we have to do to destroy them if we have to. So, doing a great job, you guys. Really proud of you. We're making progress.